times of uncertainty, it's comforting to know we have a healthcare system in our community that's been committed to supporting us for well over a century. In this current time, we are standing together, and our bond is stronger than ever. KDMC, caring for our community like no one else can.
All right, so, excited this week for our program to be in a position where, we're playing a top 15 matchup game with College game day coming into town. I think that reflects a lot on what these players have done throughout the season, to be at that point this late in the year for game day to be coming here. This is a really good team we're playing with great players. Arguably the best personnel team we played all year. I think defensively it is. So we're going to have a lot of challenges. You guys have seen our injury issues, so that is what it is. We need guys to continue to step up and make plays, and this is going to be a huge challenge because these guys have elite players.
When you look at A&M's defense, is there any specific unit that stands out to you, or is it just kind of a whole team effort sort of thing? It
really looks like when you watch NFL defenses, where basically everybody's a really good player, that looks right. A lot of times you watch, you go to play somebody, you can tell right away after a few series, okay, this player shows up as, a weak link, or this player is short, or, they got a small D tackle, something like that, that this is, I was watching it thinking like, okay, Jimbo, figured out from Coach Saban, recruit the best defensive players in the country, get them on your team, and, helps you be a really good head coach. And that's what these guys have, really, really special players that are dominant.
In your career, when you've coached in these games where it's a very quick offense against one of these defenses, are there tricks to try and neutralize the defense, or does the defense usually dictate what the offense can do?
Well, it can go good and it can go bad. And that's happened here. Look at the last 2 years versus Alabama. It was great defensive players. When it goes good, you're making first downs. You're going really fast. They're not getting lined up. And when it goes bad, they get the ball back really fast. So that is what it is with the system.
Lane, beyond Jerry On's big run early in the game, what was your assessment of the run game against Liberty?
Not very good. That was the only explosive run of the day. I don't think anybody probably in the stadium or on our sideline saw it, after that run, how easy it was. He just stayed in stride, second play of the game. Would have guessed that would have been the last explosive run of the day. So, that was very discouraging. We tried a little bit different group up front, and we did not play very well. And we weren't very consistent at running back either. And, it doesn't help. This is not an excuse. We should have ran the ball way better. But when the quarterback can't move really, we're not running him at all. They know he's not going to pull the ball. That helps him a little bit. But, there's no excuse for, whatever the stats were after that run.
When this running game is at its best, how much of it is physicality at the line versus pre-snap movement and luring guys out of position?
Well, I think it's a combination. I think majority of it is the use of tempo, and people not lined up and cleats in the grass and, or, disguising of things with motions and different stuff in front of you. So, you lose a gap and the ball breaks. And that's what happened on the long run. There were people going, and the ball hit and their guy fell back a gap. So, that's kind of been what's happened throughout the year, to be a top 5 rushing team in the country. And then after that run, we certainly didn't look like it the rest of the day.
Lane, you got started Jalen Cunningham at right guard Saturday. After earlier this season moving him over to defense, what went into that thought process? And, what did Jalen do to warrant that opportunity, and how did you think he performed?
Well, I think, I said this to our staff this morning, this is always the case in life and with players. You appreciate things more when they're gone, and losing Ben Brown has been a major hit for us. He was a very smart player, helped the center who was brand new, and even though he was the guard, he was the leader of the group. So that has affected us, and Jalen went in, did some good things, and, like you probably would expect, a little bit inconsistent, having just moved back over. So, we got to get better all around, especially inside three players.
John Rice Plumlee had a big game, specifically in the second half, his best game of the year. Did you see some things from Liberty defensively that opened up some things for him?
John had a really good game because he had a really good week of practice. He had by far his best week, not even close. And so it was like you kind of see it coming. I think that he took, advantage of opportunities with people being out and showed it in practice. And, then took it to the game. And, it was great to see.
Dennis Jackson obviously missed the first pass, but had a really big game for you as well. There have been some other receivers that have stepped up for some of the receivers that have been injured.
Yeah, I didn't realize it until someone sent it to me, and I retweeted it this morning. I think it's 10 guys have had over 100-yard games rushing or receiving this year, which is really unheard of. I think it said only the top SEC team was 5. So, that's a good and a bad thing. That's obviously because of injuries. Part of that's happened, but, it shows a lot of guys have stepped up, and, Danis did some during the game, made some big plays.
A&M kind of got off to a slow start offensively this season with some quarterback issues and whatnot. It seems like they've kind of figured it out. Just from your perspective, what is it that A&M does so well offensively over the last few weeks?
Well, I think they really figured it out versus Alabama. You look statistically, the quarterback played by far best in that game versus a very good defense, and looked great. So they've been able to run the ball almost the whole year. With 2 great running backs and a really good offensive line. And, we're going to have our hands full. We've had issues with the run at times throughout the year, as we know. So I would certainly think Jim was going to turn around and hand the ball off a lot Saturday.
Lane, with Matt Corral, is this a situation where time and rest between games are allowing him to get better, or is it just going to be that way the rest of the year with back-to-back-to-back games left on the schedule?
I hope not. The problem is it's not like there's a bye, sitting in there. So he kind of has re-aggravated it, every Saturday. So, I think this week will be very similar to last week, but hopefully eventually that's not the case.
Lane, how was Sam Williams doing? He seemed just a little banged up towards the end of the game on Saturday.
Yeah, we hope Sam's fine. He played great. He's played a ton of snaps. I'm sure PFF has a stat, but I would not think there's defensive linemen around the country that have played as many snaps as he has. It's really been unbelievable. He's got a lot of games in the 60s, some games in the 70s. So he's been a warrior for us. So hopefully he will again Saturday.
And, of course, with game day coming to town, if it was up to you, who would be the celebrity guest picker?
Well, it'd be Katy Perry. That's a no-brainer if you read my Twitter. But I just like when things have worked before, like when coaches come up with plays and they want to run a play. I said, okay, well, can you show me it being run before? Well, I've seen this script before in this movie where Katy Perry shows up and Ole Miss wins. So I was on the other side of it. So worked before, let's do it again.
We saw on the sideline Saturday that Mingo's kind of progressing where he's not in the boot anymore. Just has he moved quicker than you thought he would in his rehab? And do you still think there's a chance he could be back this year?
Yeah, I definitely think Mingo will be back. I don't know when. I kind of joked and said, with where our injuries have been, we'll be the most improved team in the world from our last game to the bowl game, so he'll be back by a bowl game at least.
And then Braylon, just how did he feel after kind of getting his first exposure back?
I think it was good that he got in there, nowhere near 100%, when you watch the film. But I just thought it was critical for him to play some with the quarterback so he had some type of rhythm with him. And, so hopefully he'll be better this week.
There's been a lot of positive momentum with former players coming back, being mentioned during the game. How important is that for your program in regards to recruiting and the forward momentum of the program?
Yeah, I think it's great. Winning solves a lot of things. So when you win, they come. And so it's good to have, good to see, and, continue to build on that and keep winning. They'll come.